to all our online viewers. You're welcome to yet another episode of Dare to Ask. And on tonight's show, Dare to Ask, we bring you the Consistency series. So, it's been a wonderful year from January up till now, till December. It's been a very wonderful year. And I just want to say a very big thank you to all our supporters, all our online viewers and listeners. Thank you so much, because you are the reason why we are here. And it's been a very exciting year, and we hope to do more in the year to come. And today we're going to start off with a very, very interesting topic, which says consistency in the walk with God. So we're going to be talking about how we can be consistent in our walk with God as Christians, as young people, as old people, as children, as teenagers, as everything. We have the beautiful Romola today on our show. And we have this one. I'm sure you're tired of seeing his face. We have Maiwa. Today he is a member of the panel. My first question to us is, what do you understand by consistency in walking with God?
Consistency, as I understand it as a word, it means being steady.
Yes.
Lacking deviation, being constant in something that you do. You expect this fluorescent light up here. You expect it to give you light when you come in here. You don't hope that gives you light, and that's consistency. When people have their preferences when it comes to tea, coffee, they're consistent on what they're looking for. Now, consistency in walking with God is all these things I have defined. So, lacking deviation, being constant, being steady, being diligent in your walk with God, spending time with God in the place of prayer, fellowshipping with God, keeping His commandments, growing in the Word of God. I believe that's the short and long of it, really, of what being consistent in your walk with God is. The moment you give your life to Christ, the moment you dedicate yourself and you declare yourself, for God and for Christ, and you declare yourself a Christian, it's important that you're consistent in that walk with God. It's like at the end of the month, you don't, I hope I get paid. You expect to get paid. So it's a two-way street. In your walk with God, you expect something from Him and He expects certain things from you. So in those things that He expects from you, you expect it to be consistent.
Now, being consistently tuned with God and things that point towards Him, towards His works and towards His love, basically, that is what I believe consistency in walking with God is. Because obviously when you say walking with God, it means that both of you are in agreement, both of you are in a relationship. Amos 3:3 helps us to understand that can two people walk together except they agree. So you are in tune with God, you are in tune with the things that reflect Him, you are in tune with the things that reflect His works, like the wonderful things He has done for us and everything, and you are constantly in tune with things that reflect His love. So that's why I believe consistency.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Romola. Thank you, Maiwa. Basically, we can, in a nutshell, we can just say consistency in our walk with God just means lacking deviation, being steady and being constant in that work with God. The question says, how do we measure or know we are walking with God and consistently so?
Is there where we can measure our consistency in walking with God? Now, having understood the definitions we put down for consistency, lack of deviation and everything, there's something I would just like to establish that for as many youth out there, for as many people are asking questions about their consistency with God, it shows them something. There's a desire for something. And once you're in that place of you desire to be consistent, you know that, okay, your consistency might not be up to some level that you want it to be. Trust me, you're already in the right place. Now, when you say, how do you measure your consistency with God? I think it's a place of the mind. It is not a place of works. It is not a question of how many times have I gone to church. Even if it's good to go to commune with the brethren, it's not a matter of how many times have I prayed, as it were. It is good to pray, but there is no, if you pray 10 times a day, if you pray 5 times a day, you're consistent. Now, it is not about how many chapters of the Bible have I read today. What if you read it and you didn't get anything from it? While it is also still good to read
the
your Bible. So what I would say is a measure, or what I would permit to be termed the measure of your consistency with God is how much in tune, how much consciousness of God do you have personally?
Okay.
When I'm eating, am I eating to the glory of God? Am I considering the things that God has instructed, has described to me in the Word, in the way I live my life, in my conversations, in all those things? So that is like the bottom, like the basic check that I will use to say that, okay, this is how you check if you're really consistent. Are you constantly like doing things in the consciousness of God? Are you doing things in the consciousness of God? That's what I would say is a measure of your consistency.
Look at it. So I'm already walking with God. I'm already a Christian, coming to church. But how do I measure that? Am I being consistent? Am I being constant? Am I lacking deviation? Am I being steadfast in what I'm doing in my walk with God? Now, there's that Bible verse, I probably won't say word for word, but it says, abide in me and me in you, a tree or fruit, a branch that don't bear fruit,
except they abide, yes.
Are you bearing fruit? Are you manifesting love, joy, peace, steadfastness? Are you long-suffering? Are you bearing those fruits of the Spirit that are expected of you? Are you showing spiritual growth? Yeah. So when you looked at yourself January 2016, and you looked at yourself now, December 2017, are you the same person? Are you speaking new tongues? Are you a different person? Are you constantly evolving in Christ Jesus? Because it's a constant transformation. Yes. The Bible says that we should work out our salvation with fear and trembling. Continue. That's what that verse says. It says continue. It's a constant walk. It's a transformative walk. You can't do it. It's not a one thing. Do you know what? That's it. I'm giving my life to Christ. I'm dedicated. That's it. It's a constant thing because there's that songwriter that says, a saint is a sinner who once fell and came back up again. So it's a constant walk of falling, coming back, falling, coming back. So how are you bearing fruit? Are you falling less times than you did last year? Are you sinning less than you did last year? Are you having to go back to God and be like, God, do you know what I'm going to do next time? Are you doing that less times this year? So are you bearing fruit? Is that intimacy? For everything that has to bear fruits, before a man and a woman, husband and wife can have children, there's got to be intimacy.
Yes.
Are you intimate with God to the point where you're bearing fruit? Yes. Is there spiritual growth? Are you bearing fruit? You know, are you bringing forth new life? Do people look at you and think, wow, Vicky,
I want to meet this your Jesus. You know what I mean?
You're becoming a better person. Every year I look at you in if it's in serving, you're not just the same person. If it's in your workplace, you're not just the same person.
The verse said, "Work out your salvation in fear and trembling." I believe in Philippians. And the verse that's just next to that actually says that it is the Spirit that works through us,
that works through us,
both to will and to do of His good pleasures.
Yes.
You understand what I mean? So the truth is, once you're born again and you have the Spirit of God, just allow the Spirit to work. Don't wrestle it. Don't wrestle. Just allow the Spirit. The Spirit will prompt you to do some things that you don't do normally. You understand what I mean? She mentioned something about growth. The thing is, when you want to grow, there are some things that are demanded of you to get to a different level.
That's it.
Maybe it may come to things as practical as I used to pray 15 minutes a day, but I'm feeling a prompting. Let me push it to 30. Obey the Spirit. Go ahead. Do the 30 minutes. You're getting more intimate. You're spending more time in God's presence.
In terms of you've actually hit the nail on the head. So in terms of that Bible verse, that Philippians 2. So I think I quoted verse 12 of it, and you've quoted the 13. Yeah. So there's a physical aspect, which is the aspect of working out your salvation. Yeah. Being purposeful about what you're doing. Yeah. I have my mindset, do you know what? I'm very intentional about my walk with God. And then there is the side that we don't see that is beyond us. So it's the part that helps us weaken our flesh, if you like. The Spirit that's working in us and trying to renew us and helping us to stand lest we fall. So I think that's what. So there's two sides to it. There's the physical, you being purposeful, you doing your part, and being purposeful and intentional about your actions and your walk with God. And then there's a Spirit that's walking in you.
Some things I picked up was that from my what he said, it's a place of the mind, not a place of the work. It's not like, because I pray 30 minutes or 30 hours.
It has to be Jesus.
You never know, there are people doing that. So maybe because I pray or I read like up to 5 chapters in a day, that means I'm consistent in my walk with God. It's not necessarily that. For you to even think about consistency in the walk with God, you've already started that walk with God. So you're a Christian, but
Are you growing?
are you growing? Can someone look at you? Not even, can you look at yourself and say, from January to December, I've actually grown. Can you just reflect and say that this is who I was at the beginning of the year and this is who I am today? Because how is your spiritual growth? What is that thing? Because there's no one that will walk with God and remain the same.
This spiritual growth is in, oh, do you know what? When they see me at church, when I preach, listen, the lane is walking. When I preach, people are giving their lives to Christ in the church. But outside, do people give the same testimony about you at work? So we're a reflection. We're spirit, soul, and body. We shouldn't abandon the fact that we're still flesh, all the same. So when we are not doing things in the spirit, as it were, in the church, are we still reflecting
that same thing
that
outside?
same spiritual growth
Exactly.
outside?
That's a very
So it's not
valid
just
point.
about, oh, do you know what? When I'm doing my thing at church, when I'm serving in the vineyard, I can now clean it up better. I used to clean 10 chairs before. Now I'm cleaning 100. When I used to, or like Gazier that reflects the IT stuff. Oh, he used to be a lot more prompt, and now he's doing it fast. That's not what it is. When you're at church, when you're at work, when you're in the hospital, wherever you find yourself, you've got to be reflecting this intimacy with God. People have got to see that there's something different, something peculiar about you and different about you.
The Bible says, let your light so shine before men that they might see that good works and glorify thy Father who is in heaven. So, exactly, you made a very valid point. It's not just about what you do and what people in the same faith as you see you as. When you go out there, how do people see us? Do you actually show love to people who probably don't even care about you? People who don't even deserve like that love. That's actually the real you. That's who you are out there when not your pastor or your HOD is watching you or stuff like that.
The Bible says take the gospel into the world.
Exactly. We have a comment from Simi Ola. Hi Simi. I'm sure you're somewhere. And she says, being consistent sometimes can be hard work and can be a struggle. As a Christian, how do we overcome the daily struggles of now, I have this question. Why she doesn't really like ask your question. That's fine. She's helping us. Okay, so I'll just read it out and maybe we'll just take it there.
Okay.
So she says, how do we overcome the daily struggles of lack of consistency and to be a better Christian, walking in the line and faith of God? And for us to establish these things, because I feel like there's some things that probably happen that might make people derail in their consistency. So I'd like us to just mention what some of these challenges can be.
What I see is the major challenge of walking consistently with God is a challenge of expectation of self. Now, the Bible helps us to understand that the righteous man will fall 7 times twice. That tells you that, hey boy, you're going to fall.
Exactly.
Hey girl, you are going to fall. But now, many young people, because of there's a certain way we're being looked at by, let's say, the older generation of people in church are like, okay, these people are just rebellious and this and that. And the ones who yearn after consistency begin to look at them like, how much more do I have to do? Hey, it's not about you. The fact that we live in a Genesis 3 world, we live in a broken world, that we because we are offsprings of Adam, one way or the other, we are not perfect. Like you cannot be perfect in your own way. But you have, there's this definition of a Christian. I like, a Christian is someone who is broken, who is imperfect, but believes in a God that is perfect. Hangs on to a God that is perfect. Do you understand what I mean? So what I believe the major problem is the expectation of self. And the more you fall, the more you see yourself do things that, a Christian shouldn't do. Do things that, fall short of the mark. Just like it says, fall short of the glory, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. So the Greek word actually means fall short of the mark. Now, the more you see those things, the more you feel less of yourself. The lower the less your taste for the things of God. Like, I can't even do this. I can't even achieve this. I can't even do this. I can't even. So you begin to question yourself. You begin to say, I'm not up to par. No, you were not made to be up to par. You were made to hang on to someone who is the par.
Yeah, interesting. Someone once defined tried to define Christians as in three parts, and they said, you know how with the Ark of Covenant we have the outer court, we have the inner court, and we have the Holy of Holies.
Yeah.
And someone said we have the outer court Christians. These are people who know about God. Their parents have told them about God. They probably have never been since they were 4 or since they were 2. Oh yeah, are you a Christian? Yes. When did you last go to church? Cannot remember. So those are the outer Christians. And then we have the inner court Christians. These are people who, like you and I, come to church regularly. You know, they pray every now and again. They read their Bible. Maybe on Monday I got up early. I'm going to read my Bible, not till Friday. you know, they do what they can when they can. They love God. They understand the things of God. And then we have the Holy of Holy Christians. These are steady, these consistent people that we're talking about, steady walkers. Now, the main challenge that the Christian body or we all face is we're all fluctuating between all three. These three Christianity levels. Between the Holy of Holies, the inner court, and the outer court. So sometimes you're the outer court Christian, sometimes you're the inner court Christian, and sometimes you're the Holy of Holy Christian. So you're constantly fluctuating between them. So let me now relate that to something simpler. If I plant a tree in my front yard, and today I'm just like, I don't like how it looks, I'm going to uproot it. I'm going to put it in my backyard. And I'm doing that every time throughout the year. It's not going to bear fruit. It's not going to flourish. So I think we're constantly, as much as there is, expectation of self, blah, 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 there is also, a lot of us are not being, without trying to put anyone on the spot or anything, we're not being disciplined, we're not being intentional about our actions, we're not being purposeful, we're not being conscious of, am I doing what I should be doing?
Yeah.
When you're given a job, there's terms and conditions, there's roles and responsibilities that have been assigned to you, and you dare not flake on them. Otherwise, you will lose your job.
Exactly.
So, but we don't assign ourselves roles and responsibilities when we become Christians. We're just like, God's grace is enough, I'm just today, God, please forgive me. But we need to be intentional about these things. We need to be purposeful. I'm not perfect. And I'm pretty sure you guys aren't perfect either. And it's not to say that I'm perfect and I'm saying everyone's got to be perfect or I'm throwing the stick at anyone. But I'm saying we need to do better as Christians. As young people, we need to start to think more about our actions before we actually get into them, before we actually do them. We need to be more, how would God feel? The Bible says that we need to not forget about rewards. God is a diligent rewarder of those who diligently seek Him. When you're looking after a little one, you say, I'll give you sweets if you behave.
Yeah.
Then there was.
And then, they start to behave, and you're just like, this child actually deserves to. We need to not forget about rewards.
True.
That Bible verse that says, abide in me and me in you. It also says, I think later on in that chapter, it says that if you abide, anything that you ask, I will give. I will make available to you. So we need not to forget that there are rewards to these things. God isn't just a slave driver. He's not just a taskmaster. Do not lie, do not sin, do not fornicate, do not be adulterous. It will come. Yeah. It will come. Your blessings will come. Your manifestations will come. Those things that you're after, they will come. But there are expectations. There are things that are expected of you. And I think a lot of us we're just like, one leg in. It's hard. I'm just going to take a chill pill. And I'm not talking about coming to church every day or, just I'm going to get up and pray at night. Walk with God goes beyond that.
Yes,
it goes beyond that. When we all talk about Enoch, he walked with God, he walked with God, he walked with God. We forget that. The Bible doesn't say much about him walking with God before he had his son. It was after he had his son, the Bible says, for 300 years, he walked with God for a bigger portion of his life. It wasn't just, Enoch was walking with God. It was specific about the time that he walked with God. The Bible says, that's one thing about the Bible, it doesn't flake. It's specific about the time that he walked with God. He didn't just say, Enoch was a man that walked with God.
He told us exactly.
The time. So it meant that there were things that he was doing that made God think, this was different from your previous 65 years.
Yep.
there was a difference. There was a change in that time.
Very exciting show,
Yeah.
very wonderful.
I had a good time. Yeah.
Yes, I had a good time as well. So please, just build your faith. Don't lose faith. We can all do it. Make a strategic plan on how you can actually get to be very consistent in your walk with God. Thank you so much for joining us today, and
Thank you.
it's good night to everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye. See you next week.
See you next